activists, opposition parties were out on the streets protesting against the cancellation, protesting against the deep distrust with the National Testing Agency. And between 18th and 22nd of May, the CBI made key arrests, picking up coaching operators and alleged insiders, many of them NTA experts. And now there is a fresh protest call on the 6th of June at Jantar Mantar in the national capital. But the big questions that we're trying to underscore tonight: why should 20 lakh honest students bear the emotional and the physical trauma of a retest because the National Testing Agency failed to secure its own administrative pipeline against paper leak syndicates? And when students spend lakhs of rupees and years of intense labor to achieve peak performance, how can the state expect them to simply reset their mental clock and reproduce those exact results under sudden and, mind you, unearned stress? With families now taking high-risk agricultural loans to fund these college fees, the rents, what institutional support or compensation exists for the lower-income students when systemic corruption destroys their hard-earned investments? With us on the broadcast to understand and put this story into perspective, Rashi Juneja, clinical psychologist, with us on the broadcast. Many thanks, ma'am, for taking out the time. And Professor C.B. Sharma, educationist. Always a pleasure to have you with us here on News 9. Professor Sharma, you see, let's put this note in perspective, Akanksha's note. She says, I don't have the courage to take NEET examination again. We've reached a stage where students fear the uncertainty around the examination more than the exam itself. Because when the system fails, and clearly the system has failed, why are the students paying the psychological price? I mean, who should now the fingers be pointing towards? We've lost another one of our future generation.
I'm so pained that I cannot express. No words can express my pain as a teacher. I don't see the faces of Akanksha, Pradeep, Ritik on the screen. I look at the face of my son. And I feel if he had done so, what would I have done? I would have been shattered. And I can imagine these parents, how shattered they must be.
Absolutely.
The nation must be shattered. One loss of young life should shape the country. Unfortunately, we are not shaken. I'm saying this with so much of pain and grief. I have been chairman of the board and I know how students react. I will pinpoint a couple of issues. Look, 7th May and now, how much information has the NTA disseminated or the agencies have disseminated to assure the students, don't worry, we made a mistake, we are rectifying it, please bear with it. There is very little information. As I said, I have been chairman. Any small information, because it involves lakhs of students, I would immediately go record my message, show the students, put it on my website and say, look, as chairman of the board, I assure you this will happen. Not one suicide took place. There was not one incident of such a crime. Why is the board not doing? Why is the NTA not doing? You are not disseminating information. You are not sharing. Keep informing your students immediately. This has happened today. We are doing this tomorrow. Don't worry. And you should have that sensitivity. You should understand your
Why do you think that's happening, Professor Sharma? Why do you think that the NTA is not coming out? I remember when Abhishek Singh, the Director General of NTA, gave out his first press conference. I think that was moments after the Union Education Minister ducked a question. When he ducked a question, just moments later, the NTA came out with the press conference with no clear-cut answers. And you're absolutely right. There has been no dissemination of information as to what is happening in terms of information.
Kabir, there is a difference between coming to defend your organization and to assure your clients.
Very rightly said,
so
pertinent
what
point,
I believe is, look at every interview. Look at every interview and you will find that they are defending. That, no, this was all right done, this we did, and this we had worked on. You don't need to do that. You first need to tell your students, don't forget they are 24 lakhs and they are adolescents. They react? I've said on various platforms, you cannot predict the reaction. These adolescents can react in any way, and you cannot predict. You have to be sensitive towards it, and this you can do only if you are a teacher, you understand your students. कुछ भी करते हैं ये, कुछ भी बोल देते हैं ये, तो आपको ये ध्यान रखना था. You have not disseminated information. You should have come every day evening and informed your students, look, this day
that's a very great point, Professor Sharma, that you've made.
And don't worry.
That's a very operative point that you've made. You know, just like you have a war bulletin, we had press conferences every day during Operation Sindoor, didn't we? And
yeah,
what, how is this not a battle on the future generations, lives and the trust? It should have happened every day. You're absolutely right.
By saying that you are involving army and air force, you have declared to the nation that we are in a war situation and we are fighting a war. And still you are not disseminating. You should have shared. I find that there is very little of sharing of information, and they should have been told every day. First. Second, the students in this exam, as an academic and as an ex-chairman, I know very poor children appear. Their concerns are, from where would I bring that 800 rupees again?
Yeah.
If I have to go to the exam center, that will involve 300 rupees for the taxi. From where would I get?
Entire futures, entire dreams pinned on one examination. The entire responsibility on one examination. Let me clear this. Let me become a doctor. Let me uplift my entire village out of poverty. That's the hopes and dreams that some of these aspirants come with.
Yes, and you may not realize that, and I may not realize that, how important is those 300 rupees. You should have come and said, look, every child who has appeared and is in financial situation, we will give you 500 rupees each. You are making crores of money, let me tell you. Every exam is a money-making venture. You don't make a loss. You earn so much from them. You should have been ready to spend that money, use that money, and assure. I had said that. I have said on your platform previously that, look, must inform your and share with your adolescent students, because you don't know how vulnerable they are. Anandji, I can see he's there, and he will definitely share that you have not done. Any life and single life should shake the nation. And if I'm happy you have not brought in political analysts, other rebels have done to do meme against one party or the other.
It's not needed. Government. It's not needed, Professor, because I'll tell you what, you know, one final thing. Let me bring in the other panelists as well. That's not Mr. Anand, that's Professor Shubhanu Roy, Chaudhary. He's a parent of a NEET aspirant. Great look, likeness with Mr. Anand, now that you've pointed it out, yourself. But Professor Sharma, you see, are we not making fun of the future generation?
Yes.
We always talk about accountability. We always talk about the importance of how heavy those 300 rupees feel for the poor families, but there has been no accountability. And when people outside are saying that, somebody should step down so that somebody gets an essence of what accountability really looks like, well, we've got nothing to show for it. No punitive action. We don't even know what happened in 2024. Very, very quick response on this, and then I'll bring in the clinical psychologist and the parent with us.
Kabir, I have shared and I have written today. I'm on print today. Where is Mr. Subodh Singh, who was the Director General NTA in 2024? He is the Chief Secretary and Principal Advisor to the Chief Minister Chhattisgarh. How did he reach that place?
Yeah.
And you are telling the nation that you are punishing, you are throwing out CBSE Chairman and Secretary. Wait for a few months and see how plump positions they will hold.
Yeah.
Rahul Singh is holding 3 very important positions. He is Director General EDSIL, he is Secretary NCRT, where all this happened in the print of.
Same goes for Mr. Himanshu as well. Same goes for Mr. Himanshu as well.
He is Secretary NCRT, and he is also Secretary CBSE. What are you doing? What are you doing? When the nation knows this, would the students not be shattered? That is a complete myth.
All cogs of the same corrupt wheel. All cogs of the same corrupt wheel. Needless to say, the rot is deeper than we actually express here. But, you rightly pointed out, that was the idea, not to bring in political analysts here. We also have with us, first and foremost, Professor Shubhanu Roy Chaudhary. Many thanks for taking out the time. I'm going to come to you in just a second, sir. Rashi Juneja, clinical psychologist with us on the broadcast. From the psychological lens, students that prepare for NEET for 2 to 3 to sometimes 4 years, what happens psychologically when a student walks out believing that they have finally succeeded, only to be told that the entire examination will not be counted now, it's been cancelled. Student suicides linked to competitive exams, because you see, look at the UPSC examination, look at our NDA examination. There are some examinations that we have got exactly right. We know exactly what to do. But when it comes to these other examinations, and this is a very important examination, these are our future medicos. Student suicides linked to these kinds of competitive examinations, they keep recurring. So is this simply examination stress? What's really happening inside a student's mind when something like this breaks in terms of information and news? Or are we looking at a larger mental health emergency amongst India's youth?
Hi, Kabir. First of all, I would like to highlight one thing. We are known as the suicide capital of the world.
Yeah.
Coming to now precisely to
What a
these
shameful
exams.
what a shameful position to be in. Yeah.
So coming to these exams now, the moment I, as an individual, step out of the examination hall, there are multiple things that I like to highlight here. It's the pressure that my parents have. It's the pressure that I'm taking on for myself, my expectations from my own self, my parents' expectations from me. You have already highlighted financial expectations that they have, and probably they have taken loans and multiple things. So once I give my exam and I have given it good, so all those expectations and its burden have released perfectly. But the moment I'm gonna hear it again, I know it might not be the best time. A lot of us have already sold out our notes because we want money back.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of us have sold out many other things. We have gone back to our hometowns, and it becomes very difficult for these students to come back to the same place and spend the same amount of the money. So these things become very difficult. Coming to another aspect, we all might not be psychological so fit. I can anticipate anxiety and take anxiety once, but not every time.
Yeah.
And there should be proper post examination counselings that should be given by the government institutions so that these students can be benefited. There's a lot of anxiety post exams that we face, and these anxieties are not easy to handle. It is not just me as a person, but also my immediate circle who are going to ask me multiple questions.
Yeah.
How did it go?
Yeah.
How you're going to see your future now, and XYZ. So all these things needs to be addressed. And plus, this is external environment. There is a lot that's going on inside me, my internal dynamics, my my personality structure. Everything plays role here. And if I'm a little on a weaker end,
So,
then it's
so
a very difficult
you
difficult
see,
stance for me.
Ms. Rashi, I think what I essentially understand is that number one, we're underestimating the trauma that we cause to our students when this kind of uncertainty comes their way. And cancellation of these major competitive examinations, it not only comes across as a significant setback, but this setback can clearly turn into grief also for students. And not everybody is psychologically equipped or as fit, like you pointed out, to take on that very grief. Because you see, on our broadcast is Professor Shubhanu Roy Chaudhary, parent of a NEET aspirant who went through something similar in 2024, but he had the help of the support, he had the love of the support and love of the family, his loved ones around him. And kudos to you, Professor, on that, because not everybody gets that. Not every aspirant and student gets that. Rashidi, I'm going to come to you in just a bit. Let me bring in Professor Shubhanu. Professor Shubhanu, you see, there is years of sacrifice. Families are spending lakhs on coaching. Professor Sharma was just telling us the immense weight of just mere 300 rupees. It might not sound mere to that particular family. And accommodation, there is preparation. When an exam is cancelled, after months of years in sacrifice, who really compensates the students and parents for that emotional financial loss? And what should parents, because the parent is going to be distraught in this very case, what must be going in their mind, and what does the parent fraternity now expect from the government?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I want to take the lead from Rashi.
Yeah.
There is something that we need to discuss today. And the first discussion is that we were talking about checks and controls and leaks and all those things, armies and everything. But the problem is we are not trying to address the leak, because rather we are promulgating the leak. So suppose the army takes on over, I can get the leak from otherwhere. So if the leak occurs in Godhra, so I can take the leak in Jharkhand. So the thing is that the effect is ultimately being percolated, the purpose of giving the questions to the tainted persons who are not eligible to become doctors. They're getting that. What the government is showing is that they're putting checks and measures just like a eye wash. So it's I basically feel it's a eye wash. And now coming to the question of suicide, there are two aspects of it. Yeah, number one, a person can be jolly well say that this time my preparation was very great, and within 1 month of time I might not be prepared
Yeah.
because CBSE, the NTS, the NEET questions are of two types. One, factual questions, and two, conceptual questions. So a person can jolly well handle the conceptual questions, maybe if the examination happens within 15 days also.
I agree. I
But
understand. Yeah.
happen to those specific points or those specific memorizations, she cannot do. She cannot handle the pressure, or he cannot handle the pressure. And he knows that if 1 mark is gone or 2 mark is gone, his medical college is gone. So that is the aspect of the suicide. This is the one aspect of suicide. And the second aspect of suicide is that, okay, I know that I cannot get a chance into the NEET examination. Chalo, make a suicide and let people understand that I am a prey of the system, which is not, because he was not prepared for NEET. If you see, 23 to 24 lakh people sit for NEET examination, but how many get selected? It's only the 1 lakh people.
Look
And
at
if
what
I,
we've done to the system. Look at what we've done to our own children. That
yeah,
for them, taking the extreme step seems an easier thing to do than reappear for the same examination. This is the anxiety and
yes,
uncertainty that we've created around this. You know,
coming
Professor,
to a
I will,
point,
Professor, I want to ask you one more thing. Professor, I want to ask you one more thing.
yeah,
Professor Shabanu, you
yeah,
see, I must act as the devil's advocate here and ask you one more thing. Many parents also push children towards medicine, believing that it guarantees a secure future. And with that guarantee comes this weight that we're talking about. Has this pressure around the NEET examination, you're a father of, a NEET aspirant, has this pressure around NEET become so intense that success and concepts like self-worth, they're getting dangerously intertwined?
yeah. You have asked a very pertinent question, and I was coming to that only. I would not name the college, but I went to a private college, and somebody was wearing a golden ring in her hand. So the professor said, "We just see how they're coming to the college." Then I asked that student, "What is the fees that you are paying?" Well, uncle, वो तो हम उठा ही लेंगे. हमको पापा यहाँ पे पढ़ा रहा है तो हम तो उठा ही लेंगे ना, इसमें क्या जाता है. So see the fun. So they understand that it's basically a business, investment in business that they want to get out of it. And I and you would be in their hands and getting some bloody tests done, or unnecessarily tests done, unnecessarily diagnostics would be done, and we'd be in a hodgepodge. Whether the clinical eye of a traditional Indian doctor could treat the disease within 10 rupees or 15 rupees or 50 rupees, we have to pay perhaps 50 lakhs. And that's the question. Why should we? This is
Yeah,
not the
yeah.
way. And this, and
This is
I don't
indirectly
know.
linked to
And,
everything that is about medicine and medicology
and
and
coming,
methodology in our country.
I just want to
Very
highlight
quickly,
one
Professor,
point.
I need to go across the board one more time.
Yeah, one point. Nobody is going to tell what GSTs are the coaching centers paying to the government. What GSTs are coaching centers paying to the government? Because I personally know that the GST level is so high, the government is lucrative, or the government channels are lucrative to leak the question and answers. If anybody has this question, can
That's
dare to
also
ask
another
to the
pertinent
NTA
point.
or the
You see,
government of India.
this is exactly what I'm talking about. Any angle and at any far-reaching imagination, Professor Sharma, that we look at this, it's all so rotten. It is all so intertwined with the dark entities. It seems like there is no light at the end of the tunnel. It seems like this is dark on both edges. My final question, and I'm going to urge all my panelists to exercise brevity. We need to keep your answers short so that we can go across the board one more time. Professor Sharma, what does accountability now look like? How do we answer the parents of this girl, looking them in the eye and telling them that, this is what must be coming their way?
I don't think we can give any answer to the parent of this girl or such children I don't think, except simply saying the nation apologizes. But what needs to be done, Kabir? One, look at the structure of your organizations. You have completely bureaucratic structure and they don't understand education. Every time you're showing the face of Akancha, my tears roll down my cheeks. I cannot tell you how pained I am. You don't have organizations which are sensitive toward the students. You have bureaucratic organization. They only try to save themselves when such things happen. If it was an academic organization, you have bureaucrats who are in the habit of saving themselves and the ministers. I think you should change the structure of NTA, structure of CBSE, structure of NCRT. You can't have non-academies doing that. So I believe that's the first thing. Look at your structures, look at your system, and revamp it. For God's sake, you are ruining the nation because of that.
I think you've made very credible and very pertinent points and all those questions. And I don't want to put you in a position where I'm putting words in your mouth and making you say that there are people that are responsible for this and should take responsibility and now clearly step down. That is the actual thing that needs to happen. Only then can the government really fill in that trust gap. Ms. Juneja, let me come to you next. A line like, I don't have the courage to take the exam again. And every time I read this line, just like Professor Sharma was saying, there is no answer that we can give to this distraught family at this point in time. It's so heartbreaking and it's shameful. Collectively, the entire nation's head should hang in shame. You said we're the suicide capital of the world. What warning signs should parents watch out for? What is your message to students that might be dealing with this setback that is gradually turning into grief? Let's make this a PSA and help the students and parents out there.
Okay, I'll keep it very crisp.
Yeah.
Only one line, that youth is not looking for correction, it's looking for connection. We are making our youth very mechanical.
Yeah.
So instead of focus on mechanics, let's focus on emotions and how to tackle these emotions and these unsettled feeling in a more constructive manner. You please talk to them instead of telling them that we are doing this, we are doing this, we are doing this. You are our last hope. Expectations. I understand we all have expectations.
Yeah.
But at the same time, just tell them one thing. You need us, we are there. This is not end of the world. Even if you don't clear it, it's fine. We still love you. We are still there for you. We can figure out something else. That assurance that you are not alone and it is not the only thing that you have to carry forward. And focus on connection. I always say this, youth needs connection. We are missing
Ms.
on
Juneja,
the connection.
just a quick follow-up on that. We've got social media today. We've got this rank culture that has existed for as far as I remember. And then you've got the new coaching culture that Professor Shubhanu was talking about. You've got parental expectations that you yourself highlighted. How much of these collectively are amplifying the emotional fallout when a major competitive examination gets cancelled? And how does a student who does not have the psychological wherewithal deal with this in the first place?
Very simple. Even if you're preparing for exams, social media gives you what they want to highlight. It sells you things. Your algorithms are so strong that the moment you say something and after 5 minutes, you're going to get the advertisements of the same on your phone. This is how strong the data is, right? So instead of focusing on the real life, let's focus on the real life. We have to fix up connections in the real life, not on the real life. Real life will show you all beautiful things, but it's never a rose garden always.
It's never a rose
So
garden. And
build
even if
up,
it is, you almost always miss out the thorns that come with the
right?
beautiful rose as well. Away from the philosophy of it all, the final voice on the show, I think it's just that it goes to a parent again, let alone a parent of a NEET aspirant. Professor Shubhanu, you see, when we talk about accountability, what accountability do parents accept and expect from institutions that are conducting these high-stake examinations? Really tell us what the parents' fraternity is today talking about. Every time a student suicide happens, we express grief, and sadly and shamefully, we must admit that we do move on. What
Sir,
does
sir,
accountability mean for parents out there?
putting my hand on my heart, I am completely with ma'am that as a parent, I have never, ever given that pressure that you need to succeed in this examination. But ma'am, you also need to understand these 17 years, 18 years, 19 years children, do they listen to us? they actually listen to the social media, they listen to their peers. So suppose this peer is, maybe it is a very false thing that I've got into AIMS, I've got into this college, I've got into this college. Nobody is verifying that. And that agony, he is scrolling down and seeing that, oh, acha, he got that chance, and he is even not verifying. Ma'am, I can tell you one incident. So my son was previously in a computer science engineering college, and he was trying to take a drop. I said, don't take a drop. You take a, because in future days AI and ML is going to come in medicine, because so you need to have some knowledge. So one day he was sleeping just beside me and said, Papa, this friend has gone to Vellore. So what should I do? Then I immediately saw his eyes and said, do you want to join a college? If it is so, just tell me tomorrow I'm going to a college and make you admit. That's not a fun. So that 1 year gap or that gap that my friends are studying and I'm not studying, that's a huge, huge chunk that the students make suicide because they feel they are left alone and nobody is looking into it. And the social media is just harping on the, अरे medical नहीं मिला तो क्या होगा, अरे medical मिलने तो पूरा life settle हो जाएगा. And this is a very wrong notion that our society has been creating.
Okay.
That once you get into medical, there is no retirement. You can earn crores and crores of money. So does engineering. So does other field. But nobody is going because we have that stigma of that traditional stigma. अरे मेरा लड़का lawyer हुआ, मेरा लड़का engineer हुआ, मेरा lawyer doctor हुआ. So that's the social status, and that has been imbibed into the student.
So we're not just dealing with the rot that is so deep and it is so wide. We're also dealing with the social stigma. We're also dealing with, just like the clinical psychologist told us, we're dealing with the lack of psychological wherewithal, which comes with the lack of connection, which is required and needed in these times. And like Professor Sharma said it out right in the opening submission, that the most important thing is that we still are not shaken by this massive tragedy that has taken place. And look at all of our faces collectively. That's the situation that we're dealing with at this point in time. We're just not shaken simply. That's the idea. Many thanks.